into derivative of the lower limit. Okay. Now you can see here derivative of the function, it is a partial derivative of the function between the and its integration between the limits, and these limits are variable limits, and these terms are coming extra because you have variable limits in this. Okay. Now if limits are constant, then this term will be 0, and also this term will be 0, and when these two terms are 0, your integration will become a regular integration. Okay, because here limits are constant means v is constant and u is constant, and derivative of the constant is 0. So this term, complete this term becomes 0, and this term is also becoming 0, and so your integration is only first term. Okay, this theorem is also required in your fluid dynamics. Now next part, that is a mathematical background required, is vector algebra. That is vector product, vector differentiation, vector concept, as well as vector calculus, vector calculus. Okay. Now how this is required, that you will get when we start the derivation of the, what we can say, governing equations for fluid dynamics. Now here basic equations in the vector algebra, that is, first is vector product. First product is dot product. You can see here, this is your dot product. If A is vector, B is vector, dot product of this two is ax bx plus ay by plus az bz, and this is your constant term. AB cos theta. Okay, how it will come, I will show you by one example. You can see here, if I write one vector, that is, suppose 2. Okay, I will take variables. Okay, vector A means what? Vector A is, it is represented by ai plus bj plus ck, or you can write ai a b jb plus ck. Okay, this is in 3 direction. I, j, k are the vectors in unit vectors in the x, y, z direction. Okay, and b vector we can write is like this. It is bi, sorry, here it is aj, here it is ak, here it is bi plus bj plus bk. Okay, these are the two vectors. When we take the dot product of this, just you have to multiply by ab plus, this is ab plus ab. Okay, product of these coefficients, this one and this one, this one and this one, this one and this one. Okay, you can take any example and you can calculate, or you will get the related examples in your books on mathematics. And this dot product or vector algebra is very important when we start the course on fluid dynamics. Okay, next one, this is a cross product. So here, for deriving the governing equations, both products are required. Cross product is ab sin theta, and this cross product we are writing as determinant of the matrix formed by the these constants. This is I, j, k. These are the unit vectors. It is I hat, j hat, k hat. It is a I hat, means it is unit vector normal to the, or in x direction. This is in y direction. This is in z direction. Here, these are the coefficients of first vector. These are the coefficients of second vector, and determinant of the matrix formed by these components. It will give the cross product of the vectors. Now this dot product, you will result in the scalar, and this cross product will result in the vector. Okay, now this is about the product. Next product is, if we want to calculate the derivative of the scalar multiplied by vector, that is a d dt of a is a scalar, small a is a scalar, and a bar is your vector. Okay, it is derivative of the scalar into vector plus scalar into derivative of the vector. Okay. Now, when we want to calculate the derivative of the dot product, for derivative of the dot product, here there are two vectors d dt of a bar dot b bar equal to the dA bar by dt dot b bar plus a bar dot derivative of b with respect to dt. Okay. Now here this is the derivative of the cross product, that is d dt of the a bar cross b bar equal to the derivative of a bar dt cross b plus a bar cross d bar by dt. Now in case of cross product, sequence is also important. Here you have sequence, and that sequence is also important. Okay. Now in case of dot product, sequence is not important because it is a result, it results in the scalar, but in case of cross product, sequence is important. Okay. Now next one, next concept required for CFD course, again this is from the vector, that is fields. What is meaning of field? What we are calling, that is scalar field, vector field, temperature field, velocity field. What is meaning of field? Field is a continuous distribution of the physical quantity. If we consider the temperature as a physical quantity, and when it is distributed over the space, then it is called as a field. Now that quantity is represented using appropriate functions of the space and time. Here you can see, here if we consider the scalar field, temperature field, T is equal to function of T of xyz, means it is a function of space. Okay. Vector field, velocity field, that is v bar, it is equal to the vector xyz, and if it is a function of time, for transient problems then you have to add the time also. Okay. Now this is the meaning of the field, and we are regularly using this word, that is a field, and when we consider the field, it is a continuous distribution of the physical quantity. You have to remember this. Now next one, next concept from the vector is required for CFD analysis or for fluid dynamics is directional derivative and gradient. Okay. Now you see here, rate of change of field variable. Rate of change of field variable with respect to distance in a given direction is called as a directional derivative. Okay. Now see here, if you have phi is equal to phi xyz is a scalar field, then its directional derivative is given by d phi by ds, d phi by ds. So here we are differentiating with respect to direction, equal to the this del operator, or it is a gradient of the phi. What is gradient of the phi? That we will discuss. Okay. Gradient of the phi dot s, gradient of the phi dot s means d phi by ds, d phi by ds, this is del phi, we can say del phi or gradient of phi dot s. S is a, here I have written s is a normal vector, or s is the vector in which, in the direction. Okay. Next one, next, this gradient is del phi, and this gradient is equal to the derivative of phi with respect to x into unit vector plus derivative of phi with respect to y into this unit vector plus derivative of phi with respect to z into this unit vector. Now when we take this directional derivative, and because of this gradient, you will get the vector, but when we take the dot product with this unit vector, you will get the scalar. Okay. Now this directional derivative is very important in case of velocity field, because we need to calculate the streamlines. Okay. And streamlines, for stream functions, we have to take the derivative of the velocity, and depending upon the direction of velocity, we will get the direction of the streamlines. Okay. Now after getting this, now okay, this we can write for the temperature also. Okay. Next one, gradient and divergence. Gradient and divergence. Now, what is meaning of the gradient? Now, if we consider the scalar function, that is a phi as a scalar function. Now, our scalar field, we can say scalar field. Now, if we consider the scalar field phi, and if it is a function of x, y, z, it is going to create one surface, or it represent the surface. As when we consider the control volume, on boundaries or on surface, phi is a normal to the surface. Phi is a normal to the surface, or gradient of the phi. This del phi is normal to the surface when phi is equal to constant. So del phi on the surface is largest value, or it is a largest spatial rate of the change of the phi. Okay. Now we are using the vector operator del for calculation of this gradient. That means here this del operator is equal to the I into this differentiation operators. Here you can put temperature, you can put pressure, or you can put anything. That means if we can write the gradient of the temperature, if I write gradient of temperature, here this becomes dt by dx, or dou t by dou x, plus j into dou t by dou y, plus k into dou z of t. Now you see here, if we take this gradient of the t means it is a heat, or it is a thermal gradient, we can say. Why we are calling thermal gradient? Okay. You see here, if we consider the temperature is a scalar quantity. And when we take the gradient of the temperature, that is a thermal gradient, it becomes vector quantity. Okay. And here we are not using that regular derivative for calculation of the temperature gradient, but for temperature gradient we have to use the vector operator del. Okay. Now here phi is a scalar and del phi is a vector. Now this is about the gradient. Next is the divergence of the vector field. Now divergence means it is a dot product of gradient, that is a del operator, and vector. Dot product of gradient and vector. Now how we can write here, I will show you. You see here, now divergence of the vector field, and this result in the scalar. How it is resulting in the scalar, I will tell you. If I write this equation, now your divergence is what? Divergence is I dou by dou x plus j dou by dou y plus k dou by dou z, and dot vector, and that vector is a vector. Now this is a vector. If I take this as a b vector and this as a vector, then if we take the dot product of two vectors, already I have told you, it results in a scalar. Okay. Now this is the divergence of the vector field, and divergence of the vector field is important term while deriving the all three equations, that is continuity, momentum, and energy equation. Okay. Now when we take the divergence of the gradient of the phi, then this is known as a Laplacian operator, that is a del square. This is your well-known Laplacian equation. Now here, this is divergence is your vector. And gradient of the phi, this is also vector. And when we take the dot product of this, you will get scalar, and that scalar is known as Laplacian operator, del square, it is known as Laplacian operator. Okay, so for Laplacian equation, it is a well-known equation in heat transfer and fluid dynamics. You will get this equation. Okay, and it is also known as the divergence of the gradient phi. Divergence of the gradient phi. Here phi is a scalar. Okay, now have you got it? If you have doubt, you can ask me. I am taking only revision of equations. Yes, if you have doubt, you can ask me. You can ask. I will wait for 1 minute for your doubts. Yes. Hello, Mari sir. Are you getting this?
Yes, sir.
Next, Kaushik sir. Hello, Kaushik sir.
Yes, sir. Yes,
If you,
I am understanding, sir.
yes sir.
Understand, sir.
Okay sir. Okay, thank you sir. Okay, I will move to the next. Now these are the mathematical equations required for your CFD or fluid dynamics equations. Again, some equations are required, or mathematical background is required. Now next term is a gradient. Next term is curl. I have covered gradient and divergence. Next term is a curl. Now curl of vector, it is a this del operator cross vector. That means here gradient of vector, it is your curl. Okay, now you have that is cross product, and this cross product, you know it. Actually, here when we take here, this product or this term is very important in fluid dynamics. Why it is important in fluid dynamics? If we take cross of this gradient and velocity field, then you will get the vorticity. You will get vorticity. Okay, now for vorticity calculation, we need this curl operator. Okay, now this is a gradient of velocity, or it is a gradient cross velocity. Okay, now this will result in the curl of this velocity, and curl of velocity is vorticity. Okay, now there are certain rules related to the this one. You see here curl of gradient phi, this equal to the 0. Why this equal to 0? I will not go for the proofs of all these equations because it is from vector algebra. Okay, now you can put the vectors and you can calculate it. That is this, if we use del operator means this one. You see here, this one, this operator, or it is a gradient. And when we take the product of gradient curl, again it is a gradient of phi, that is curl of gradient, this equal to the 0. Okay, next one, divergence of the curl, it is also equal to 0. You just put the this a x by like this, then you will get how it is coming 0. Okay, next is curl of curl, this is, you can see here, this is a cross, cross. Curl of curl, it is gradient of divergence, minus Laplacian. Okay, or this is gradient of divergence minus divergence of the gradient. Why minus divergence of the gradient? Already I have shown it, divergence of the gradient here. Okay, next one, this one, This is divergence of scalar multiplied by vector. Divergence of the scalar multiplied by vector. It is gradient of the scalar dot vector. Gradient of the scalar dot vector plus scalar multiplied by divergence of the vector. Divergence of the vector. Okay. Now next one. Here this is curl of scalar multiplied by vector. Okay, curl of scalar multiplied by vector. It is gradient of the scalar cross vector. Gradient of the scalar cross vector. Next, scalar times the curl. Next term is scalar times the curl. Why it is? This is a phi del cross v. It is same to this one. It is a scalar times vector. Okay. These are the some rules related to the vector algebra. Okay. And these rules are required for deriving the what we can say fluid dynamics and heat transfer equations, as well as these are required to calculate the results of CFD. Okay. Now this is one integral theorem which is used to convert surface integral to the volume integral and volume integral to the surface integral. Okay. There are two theorems. One is a Gauss theorem and one is a divergence theorem. Now for this, if suppose this is a control volume, and this is a unit vector normal to the control surface A and normal to the surface. If this vector is pointing in outward direction from the enclosed volume, then it is taken as a positive. Means you see here, if we consider the velocity going outside the flow, it is outside the controlled volume or outside the surface, it is considered as a positive, and coming out inside the control surface, this is considered as a negative. Okay. Now in this situation, if you want to calculate the, or if you want to convert the volume integral to the area integral, we have to use these two theorems. Now what is these theorems? You see here, this is the del operator, or it is a gradient of phi, integration of gradient of phi over the volume. It is equal to the integration over the area phi into n hat dA. That means phi into unit vector over the area. Okay. And here phi is a scalar quantity. Phi is scalar quantity. Means your Gaussian theorem, it is used for scalar quantity, and when we want to convert the integration of scalar from volume integral to this area integral, we have to use Gaussian theorem. Next is a divergence theorem. Divergence theorem, it is used for vector conversion. Okay. Now here, integration of del dot b vector, that is the divergence of b over the volume, it is equal to the b dot this unit vector over the dA. Okay. This is the divergence theorem required for converting volume integral to the surface integral or surface integral to the volume integral. Okay. Next one. Now here, these are the this is a mathematical background which we need for deriving fluid dynamics equations. Proofs of these mathematical theorems. I have not covered proofs of these mathematical theorems already. Assumption for this, you have studied this mathematics in your undergraduate and postgraduate courses. So just I have taken the revision. If you want this, you can refer any mathematics book and you can see the proofs of these theorems or these equations. Okay. Now next one. I think this part Mani sir has already covered. Whether this part has been covered by Mani sir or not, can you tell me? If it is covered, I will not take this. Otherwise, I will go to the next one. Okay. Okay. Can you tell me whether it is covered or not?
Not covered, sir.
Okay, I will cover it. Numerical simulation process. Numerical simulation process. These are the steps of numerical simulation process. Actually, this is a part of the software, but I'm going to cover it. Why? Because I want to tell you importance of the mathematical model. Here we need mathematical model. Already you know these steps. I will not give more time for this. Model the geometry of the domain of the model the geometry of the problem domain. Okay, this is one thing. That means we have to model the domain of the problem. It may be any rod or it may be any big domain. Okay, that geometry how to model during the numerical simulation. Okay, now next important thing is choose appropriate mathematical model of physical problem. Okay, choose appropriate mathematical model of the physical problem. Okay, for that purpose we have a clear understanding of the governing equations. Okay, and depending upon the governing equations, depending upon this mathematical model, you have to select the suitable discretization method. Okay, now there are three types of discretization methods. One is finite difference method, one is finite volume method, one is finite element method. Okay, and out of this discretization method, depending upon this physics of the problem, if it is a simple problem, simple domain, and your equations are simple, then you can use finite difference method. And generally for complicated problems, our domains having complicated geometry, for that we are using finite volume method. Okay, now you select this suitable discretization method. Finite element method is used for structural problems generally. Okay, now generate the grid based on the problem geometry and discretization method. That means here, based on these two steps or these three steps, you have to generate the grids. Okay, why? Because if we go for finite difference method, it requires the structured grid. Okay, if we go for finite volume method, we can do the calculations at the centroids of the control volume. That means centroids of the subdomains. If we go for the finite element method, we are doing the calculations at the nodes. Okay, so generate the grids required or suitable for your geometry as well as for discretization method. If you are using finite difference method, then proper structured grid generation is required. If you want to do the finite volume method, small size of the control volumes is required because we are doing the calculations at the centroid. If we go for the finite element method, you can use any unstructured grid, but calculation points are more because we are doing the calculations at nodes. But in case of finite volume method, calculation points are less, so we have to use smaller control volumes. Okay, now next one, use suitable solution technique to solve the system of discrete equations. Now when we generate the grids, then when we apply that grid generation for your physical mathematical model, then it results in the system of discrete equations. That system of discrete equations or system of algebraic equations you have to solve by suitable solution technique. Okay, now again here these methods are iterative methods, solution methods are iterative methods, so we need to set some convergence criteria. Okay, and that convergence criteria, depending upon your requirement, okay, how accurate results you need, that defines the convergence criteria. Okay, now after that you prepare the numerical solution for further analysis. And these are the steps in short. One is geometry modeling, mathematical modeling, discretization method, grid generation, numerical solution, post processing and validation. In post processing we are plotting the results. Okay, now in this course we are going to start theory from this second step, model the geometry or domain. This also I will explain, but it is not important thing, you can get from the softwares also. But for second step, third step, and this fourth and fifth step, we need some critical mathematics that I am going to cover as a part of theory of this course. Okay. Now you see here, first is a domain. First is a domain. How we can define the domain? You see here, for that purpose I have taken one example, and this I have covered yesterday at that time. This type of theory I have covered yesterday at the time of practical also. Now see here what you want to calculate, you want to calculate the flow past the this double cone, that is high Mach number flow past a double cone. Okay, this flow is viscous compressible flow with complex features. Okay, first you have to extract this is your geometry of the double cone. First you have to extract the fluid domain. Now how we can consider the fluid domain? You see here your fluid is coming from this side. Fluid is coming like this. Am I right? Okay. So for fluid domain, you have to create the model, or you create the model or geometry. Now you see here this is a fluid domain. Now this will come like this. Okay. Now this is at certain distance away from your geometry. Now you see here this separate flow domain. This is your flow domain. Here effect of this wall or effect of this double cone is up to here on front side, up to here on this side, and this is a wall of your double cone. Okay, now this is a flow domain or fluid domain, we can say. Okay, this is a fluid. Now you want to calculate or you want to find the solution. Here you want to find the flow properties in this domain, not here. Okay, now this is a flow domain. We have created the geometry for flow domain. After that you have to generate the grid. You see here, these are the structured grids. These are the structured grids. Now these are the bigger grids and these are the smaller grids. Okay, here there may be some inflation layers near to the wall. Okay, and after that inside this we have flow properties. Okay, now this is discretization and grid generation. This step is discretization and grid generation. After discretization and grid generation, you get the system of linear equations. That system of linear equations you have to solve for getting the results, for getting the velocity field. Okay, after getting that velocity field, you have to go for the post processing. In post processing, you are going to plot different types of results, that are the contour plots, vector plots, streamline plots. Okay, these plots you have to take over the flow domain. Okay, this is the your process or numerical process while solving the fluid flow or heat transfer problems. Next one. Okay, have you got this process? Any doubt in this process? Now after that you have to go for validation. All these things I have explained. Now this geometry modeling, details of geometry modeling we will cover in practical session. Already we have started it. Next we will go for the mathematical modeling. Okay, now the prerequisite for mathematical models already I have covered. Okay, now here I am going to explain what are the different equations we need as a mathematical models of fluid dynamics or heat transfer. Now these are the three equations: continuity equations, momentum equations, and energy equations. Now here, if you consider the computational fluid dynamics, it is based on the fundamental governing equations, okay, and these equations are continuity equations, momentum equation, and energy equations. These equations describes the physics of the CFD problem. The mathematical statements of these equations are derived from mass conservation law, Newton's second law, that is momentum equation, and energy conservation law. Here you can see here mathematical models for any physical phenomena. I think we are deriving from these three equations, that is from conservation of mass, from Newton's second law, and from conservation of energy. Okay. Now here there are certain reasons for deriving these equations in different forms. What are that results? You see here, if I read this, if CFD is based on all these equations, okay, and while doing the CFD, everyone should be compatible with these governing equations, okay. That means you should be compatible on these three equations before working on these applications, okay. Now why you should be familiar with these equations? That reason I have written here. The governing equations are obtained in various forms. Various forms means what? That is in the form of, or in the integral form, or in the differential form, or in conservative form, or in non-conservative form. Okay. These are the different forms of equations, and I will derive all these forms for all these equations. Okay. Now particular form of the equations for specific applications make difference in the solution, okay. However, for given algorithm in the CFD, the use of equation in one form may lead to success, whereas same form of for other application may result in oscillations in the numerical results, incorrect results, okay, or even unstable results. This is the reason. For that purpose, we have to understand the equations or governing equations. In CFD, various forms of equations are vital interest. We have to derive all these equations and we have to understand all these equations. Okay. Now, while deriving these equations, there are different types of models of fluid flow. Models of fluid flow. What are that models of fluid flow? And depending upon the model which we are using for deriving these equations, we will get different forms of the equations. What are that models of the fluid flow that I will tell you? Now see here, these are the models of the fluid flow. First one is finite control volume. And in finite control volume, there are two models. One is finite control volume fixed in a space with fluid moving through it. One is finite control volume moving with the fluid such that the fluid particles are always in the same control volume. Now see here, I will explain one by one. Now see here this is a control volume. This is a control volume, and this control volume is fixed in a space with fluid is moving through this control volume. Okay. In general, flow field represented by these streamlines is passing through this control volume. Okay. That means it is passing through some finite region. Okay. It has V as a control volume, and its a control surface is defined by closed surface S, and that closed surface bonds the fluid inside the fixed control volume. Okay. Now, how we are deriving these equations, governing equations, by using this model? Now, what we are going to do, we are going to apply the fundamental principles, physical principles, that is law of conservation of mass, law of conservation of energy and Newton's second law to this control volume. That means to the fluid crossing this control surface. Okay. Now next is your finite control volume moving with the fluid. Now in first case, your volume of the control volume is fixed, okay, and fluid going outside or fluid coming inside this control surface is changing. Now in the second volume, second model, control volume is reasonably large. That means it has finite region of the flow. The fluid inside the control volume is fixed. You have to remember this. Fluid inside the control volume is fixed. The fundamental physical principles we are applying to the fluid inside the control volume, not on the fluid entering to the control volume. Okay. Therefore, instead of looking at whole flow field, we have to concentrate on fluid in the finite region of the volume itself. The fluid equations which are directly obtained by applying the fundamental principles to this control volume, and these equations are in the form of integral. Okay, these equations are in the form of integral. Okay, in both cases we are getting integral form of the equations. Okay, the equations which we are getting from finite control volume fixed in a space, these equations are called as a conservation form of the governing equations. You see here, from first we will get the conservation form of the equations. This is conservation form, and here we are getting non-conservation form. Okay. Next one, and one more thing I want to tell you here. Here we have to concentrate on all flow field. Here we have to concentrate on the flow field inside this control volume. Now here volume is not constant, volume is changing, but where we have fixed the fluid inside this control volume, so its mass is constant. You have to remember this. Okay. Now next, there are two models again. Here these models are infinitesimally small fluid elements. Okay. Again here consider the small fluid elements and flow with the differential volume. Okay, and this differential volume is same to the volume which we are using in differential calculus. Volume which we are using in differential calculus means it is tending to 0. It is not 0, but it is tending to 0. But it is a large enough, so it contains the large number of molecules, fluid molecules, so that it can viewed as a continuous medium. Okay. Now these fluid elements or these small fluid elements may be fixed in a space or may be moving with streamlines. Okay, or moving with the velocity of the fluids. Okay. Next one, in case of the fluid element which is fixed in a space, we are looking over whole flow field, and when it is a fixed when it is moving with the fluid, we are concentrating on the fluid inside this small fluid element. Okay. Now see here infinitesimally small fluid element moving along the streamlines with a velocity v equal to the local velocity at each point. Okay. Now equations obtained from these two models are in the form of differential equations. Now here these equations from these two equations from these two models are very important from CFD point of view. Why? Because here in CFD we are using numerical methods, and these numerical methods we are solving differential equations. Okay, and one more thing I want to tell you here, we can, using some manipulation or mathematical manipulation, we can convert any mathematical model from its integral form to the differential form, or from differential form to the integral form. That means we can convert any form of the mathematical equation from its one form to the other form. Okay, now these are the fluid elements. If you are doubt, or if these are the two types of or four types of models, we can say one is control volume model and one is infinitesimally small fluid element models. Okay, if you are doubt in these two models, you can ask me, I will clear the doubts. Giridhar Mujawar, if you are doubt in these models, you can ask me.
No, sir.
Any other? Yusuf, if you are doubt, you can ask me.
No doubts.
Okay. Now these are the two models. These are important models which we are using for deriving the equations. Okay. Now, before going to derive the equations, there are certain concepts which we need to uh, understand. What are that concepts? I will tell you. Here, substantial derivative, concept of substantial derivative. What is concept of substantial derivative? For that purpose, what we are going to uh, consider? Consider one fluid element. Suppose it is infinitesimally small fluid element. I will draw here infinitesimally small fluid element. This is a fluid element. Now, if it at time t1, this fluid element in a space like this, and after some time, when it is time changes, it moves to this location. It moves to this location. This is your x, this is your y, and this one is your z. And here it is normal or vector in x direction is I, unit vector in y direction is j, unit vector in z direction is k. Okay. Now consider the velocity vector. Velocity vector is in the form of ui, vj, and wk. U is the velocity in x direction, v is velocity in y direction, and w is the velocity in z direction. Now here u is not constant. U is function of x, y, z, and t. V is also same thing. It is function of x, y, z, and t. W is also same. It is function of x, y, z, and t. Again, in addition to this, I am going to take density. This is rho. It is also function of x, y, z, and t. That means it is also changing from point to point. Okay. Now, here I have taken this velocity and density. These are the functions of time. So it is a unsteady flow. It is unsteady flow. Okay, as these fields or these variables are functions of time and space. Okay, now suppose at time t1, if I write the density at time t1, here rho, it becomes rho of x1, y1, z1, and t1. Okay, at time t1, when your fluid element is at this location, okay, your density is rho 1, we can say. It becomes rho of or function of x1, y1, z1, and t1. Okay, Now when your fluid element is moving from this location to this location at time t2, your density will become this rho is equal to rho of x2, y2, z2 and t2. Okay, now at this location it is your rho 2. At this location your this density is function of x2, y2, z2, that is a space and time. Okay, now when we write the Taylor series between these two locations, now this is the equation for a Taylor series. You see here rho 2, that is density at location 2, it is equal to the density at location 1 plus derivative of density with respect to x at location 1 into distance of first distance of location at t1, sorry, distance in x direction, x distance. Okay, that is x2 minus x1. Okay, next plus same thing in y direction. Okay, next plus same thing in z direction, because it is a function of 3 dimensions as well as time, and again there is a time domain, or it is a function of time, so it is t2 minus t1 is a gap between two times, or it is a space between two times. Okay, plus higher order terms may be there, but I am going to truncate these higher order terms. Now what I am going to do, I am going to take this rho 1 on this side, it becomes rho 2 minus rho 1. Okay, this term will be removed from here. Now after that, what I am going to do, I am going to divide by t2 minus t1 to this whole equation, t2 minus t1 to this whole equation. Now when we divide by t2 minus t1, you will get this equation. You can see here rho 2 minus rho 1, I have taken rho 1 on this side, divided by t2 minus t1. Next, this term dou rho, that is partial derivative of rho with respect to x, into x2 minus x1 divided by t2 minus t1. Here this is partial derivative of rho with respect to y into y2 minus y1 divided by t2 minus t1. Again same thing, and from last term t2 minus t1 will be cancelled, okay, with each other, and you will get partial derivative of rho with respect to time only. Now see here x1 is the initial position and x2 is the final position of the fluid particle. If I take x2 minus x1, and if I divide by t2 minus t1, it will result in a velocity in x direction, because it is displacement difference with respect to time. Okay, so you will get the velocity in x direction, Now this is about this term. Here you will get u, here you will get phi, because it is a in y direction. Okay, here you will get w. Okay, next rho 2 minus rho 1 divided by t2 minus t1. If your particles are very small and if time is tending to that is t2 is tending to t1, when we take the limit of t2 tending to t1, when I take the limit here, this u also coming when we take the limits of this one, limit like this, I will write here, limit t2 is tending to t1. Okay, you will get here in this case x2 minus x1 divided by t2 minus t1, this is equal to u, and in case of this one here, what you will get, it is a d rho by dt, it will give d rho by d2, and this capital D rho by d2, it is known as a substantial derivative. Why it is substantial derivative and what is the difference in substantial derivative and your regular derivative, I will tell you. You see here I will go to the next slide. You see here d rho by dt. Now that equation will come like this: d rho by dt is equal to u into partial derivative of rho with respect to x plus v into partial derivative with respect to y plus w into partial derivative of rho with respect to z plus partial derivative of rho with respect to time. Okay. Now see here this is not just a derivative. This is not just derivative. It is derivative with respect to time plus space into you have u. Okay. So in general, this is substantial derivative, and substantial derivative we can write in general form also. How we can write in general form? If in place of this rho, if you have any other variable, we can write a substantial derivative. See here I have written the substantial derivative for temperature. Substantial derivative for temperature. Okay. And if you want write general equation, it is d dt equal to u into dou x plus v into dou y plus w into dou z plus dou by dou t. Okay, this is your general equation. Here you can put temperature, you can put pressure, or you can put anything. Okay, this is the concept of what we can say substantial derivative. Now when we go for the substantial derivative, you see here u v w. U is the velocity in x direction, v is velocity in y direction, and w is velocity in z direction. In place of u I plus v j plus w k, I can write just the v. That is a velocity. That is a velocity vector. And velocity vector into derivative of this rho, you see here, if it is dou by dou x, next plus dou by dou y plus dou by dou z. If I multiply by this I j k, this becomes gradient of rho. Now, and when we take the product of this one and this one, you will get this equation. Okay, so I have replaced this product by v dot gradient of rho. Okay, now in general it can be written as d dt equal to the partial derivative of any term with respect to time plus velocity dot gradient. Okay, velocity dot gradient. So it is called as a substantial derivative. This is your substantial derivative. Have you got this concept, substantial derivative? Have you got this? Any doubt? Now what are the terms in this case? I will tell you. See here substantial derivative means it is a total derivative. It is physically time rate of change in a space. Why it is time rate of change in a space? Because you see here this term, it is a local derivative which is a time rate of change at fixed point. Okay, it is a local derivative which is a time rate of change at a fixed point. And second term, it is a convective derivative. And this is the rate of change due to the moment of the fluid element. Okay, are you getting this? Now see here, I will tell you one example. If when we are suppose there is a cold weather, and when we are moving to one room, and someone has thrown ice on your body, then that is considered as a this local change. Okay, local change, that means it is at fixed point. When you are in or when you are at the door and someone has thrown ice on it, ice on you, okay, then your body temperature will be suddenly reduced, and that sudden reduction is your local change. And this is your convective change, means it is continuous change with respect to space. Okay, that is known as a substantial derivative. Substantial derivative is total derivative, and this has some importance in your derivation of the equations. Okay, now next is the divergence of velocity. Divergence of velocity, it is just like a your divergence of vector. Okay, now before going to that, I will ask you, here you have to face one MCQ exam at the end or after 15 days also. Okay, so you should understand the concept like this: what is divergence of velocity, what is substantial derivative, okay, what are the components of substantial derivative. Also you have studied it, but not in this format. You have studied in your regular derivative format. Okay, have you got it? If you are doubt, you can ask me. Sawan sir, have you got it?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Now next one, I will go to the divergence of velocity. Divergence of velocity. This is also required for deriving governing equations. Okay. Now for understanding concept of the divergence of velocity, consider a control volume. Consider a control volume with consider control volume, moving control volume. Okay. Now this control volume is moving with the fluid. So the fluid particles inside this control volume are fixed. Okay, that means fluid inside this control volume is fixed. Okay, the mass of control volume is fixed as the fluid is same, or fluid quantity is same inside the control volume. It is same to the balloon flowing with the fluid. Okay, now fluid inside that control volume is fixed and it is moving with the flow. Okay, now here volume of the control volume is not constant. Volume and control surface are changing with the time. Okay, depending upon the flow, the volume of that control volume which we have taken, also control surface of that control volume, that are changing when this control volume is moving with flow. Okay, again, as volume and surface is changing with the flow, density inside the control volume is not constant. That is because it has fixed mass, but volume and surface is changing. Okay, volume and shape is changing. Now for instance, consider elementary surface ds of this control volume. Okay, because of the local velocity phi, this what we can say, this control volume is changing, and that change is suppose delta v due to the moment of the ds over delta t. Okay, suppose this ds is moving in this direction for a time delta t. Okay, for a time delta t. So we can see here, for if we consider this delta t is very small, we can assume this as a small change, and we can consider this as a cylindrical change in a control volume. So you will get delta V is equal to V delta T dot N over ds. Okay. Next one. Now this we can write V delta T dot ds. Okay, because this is unit vector normal to the surface. Okay. Now total change in volume of the control volume we can write here. This is the change in the surface. This is a change in the surface. Okay, and this is change in elementary surface ds. Now if you want to calculate the total change in volume of the control volume, okay, then we have to take the integration of all the changes in these control surfaces. Okay, so I have integrated this over the surface. It is V delta T dot ds. Now when we want to calculate the time rate of change of this control volume, so you will get dv by dt equal to 1 upon delta t and V dot delta t. Here you can see here what I have done. I have taken this dt here, okay, integration over ds. Okay, now here how we can get this equation, I will tell you. Now here, if you have this one, that is delta v, this equal to integration of delta v, we can say, or just delta v, this is equal to the integration of v delta t dot ds, okay. Now I will divide by delta t to both sides. I will divide by delta t on this side also and on this side also. Now this is delta v by delta t. It is a time rate of change of volume. Okay, so I can write dv by dt. Okay, this equal to 1 upon delta t integration of v dot del t dot ds. Okay, now here when we take this del t inside this integration, you can cancel this and you can get v ds only. Okay, v ds only. Now next one, if we use divergence theorem, you can see here phi ds I have taken here. If we use divergence theorem, dv by dt, I have converted that surface integral to the volume integral, and for convergence of surface integral to the volume integral, we have to multiply by this del operator. It is del dot v dv. Okay, and if we take the small volume, suppose it is a elementary volume dv, then this v will be replaced by dv. It is d del v or dv by dt, that is equal to this one. Okay, now for small volume, this volume is constant, we can say, or for very small volume, when we integrate over this one, you see here I have done one mistake here. What is that mistake? dv, if it is if your volume is very small, it is of like this, then integration over this volume is same integrand na. Okay, so I have replaced that integration and I have written this equation in this form, that is d dv by dt equal to the del dot v dv. Okay, and this is your divergence of velocity equal to the this dv I have taken on this side, and it becomes d dv. What is meaning of this? I will tell you. Now this equation is giving the divergence of velocity. Okay, and divergence of velocity is time rate of change of volume of fluid element with respect to volume. Here you can see here, it is time rate of change of volume with respect to the volume, that is known as the divergence of velocity. Okay, it is time rate of change of volume with respect to volume. That is your divergence of velocity. Okay. So here, if you have any doubt in this equation, you can ask me. Or if you have doubt in any step of this equation, you can ask me. Have you got? Lion, have you got it? Lion? Yes or no? Sawan sir, have you got it? You see here I have taken small control surface, and small control surface, because of change in time delta t, this is extended like this in the direction of velocity. Okay. So you can see here v delta t. What is v into delta t into ds? What you will get? If you use simple equations, v delta t, time change, velocity into time, it is distance na, into surface. Velocity time into is distance into surface. That will give the volume. Simple thing. Okay. Now total change in the volume, it is integration. You have to integrate over whole surface. Okay. Now next one, you have to divide by delta t. When we divide by delta t both sides, you will get this time rate of change in volume. Okay. Now this delta t and this delta t we can cancel, and you will get v dot ds. Next one, divergence theorem. From divergence theorem, we can write this surface integral to the volume integral. So you will get this equation. And in this equation, when we assume very small volume, that is control volume is small, then integration is equal to the integrand. Okay. So you can replace this integration, or you can remove this integration, and you can get this one. Okay. Now here you can take dv on this side, and so you will get divergence of velocity is time rate of change in volume with respect to volume. Okay. Have you got it? If you have doubt, you can ask me. Now I'm going to stop here, and you can rejoin after 10 minutes, that is at 2:40. Okay. Yes. Any doubt? I think you are not getting these concepts. If you have doubt, you can ask me. Uday Patil, Yusuf,
No, sir.
Yusuf,
Yes.
have you
No
got
doubt.
it? Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you. Now we will stop here, and we will meet after 10 minutes. Okay. For lab session.